Yo, what is going on, guys? It's your boy Kimbo here, and it's time for an epic discussion video. You know I enjoy doing the discussions, and yeah, we got another one incoming. So this one is going to be on actually the future of Beyblade. You know, I'll probably just call it that, the future of Beyblade with a question mark. So yeah, we know there's going to be some news coming, but we also know that the main burst release, like, the main release for Beyblade Burst BU, the last one anyways, just released, that being Barricade Lucifer. Of course, we have one more release coming that's confirmed at least, and that being the Plastic Gen remake set with the V2 base. So, Drigger V2, Dragoon V2, Dronzer V2, and also with this set, we're seeing the debut of Drasil V2. So we're actually getting it. So it's nice to see that they're doing at least the four big time, like, popular V2 bays. So yeah, I was hoping we'd see Drasil, which is really, really epic. So yeah. I'm gonna start this off with a little honorable mention. Something I'd really love to see. I doubt it's gonna happen at this point, but like a MFB, one more MFB remake set. Like, I'd really, really want to see that, man. Just because the last Plastic Gen remake set that we saw, well, not last remakes that we saw, but like Plastic Gen remake that we saw, being Drigger V2, and Drigger literally being so strong they could hang with DB and BU bays, because like having over and wedge, even the combo with over and wedge dash, like it does really, really well, man. It hangs, it's strong, it puts in that work, and it's so, so awesome to see that for sure. And I'd really want to see like some MFB bays getting their roses like with one final set. I'd put in 6 bays with it personally. So like the Legendary Bladers, the 4 seasons, as well as Diablo Nemesis. So Big Bang Pegasus, Ultimate Reboot Dash, Metal Ultimate Reboot, whatever the hell they'd want to do with it. Fang Leon, Wave Dash, Metal Wave, High Wave Dash, whatever. Because the closest thing to W squared D, Ultimate Reboot being the closest thing to like Final Drive, makes perfect sense. Eldrago Destroy, even if they lock it in like the high mode or something, Eldrago Destroy for sure. Lock it in the high mode like how DB or BU is, and put Generate Dash on it. That would work out for sure. I think that would be really, really dope to see. Gotta pay respects and props to your boy Ryuga. Phantom Orion, bearing, dash, metal bearing, high bearing, whatever they'd want to do with it. Flash Sagittarius, high yielding, because 230 WD, and they used, for the WD base, they used yielding. So when they did Earth Aquila, WD, yielding. Gravity Destroyer, Gravity Perseus, WD, yielding. So it makes sense that they did high yielding, because it still has WD with it. So, And then Diablo Nemesis, if it's in the attack mode, I'd say Trans Dash or something would be fitting for it, because like the attack mode and the stamina mode, they switch between with the attack mode, or if it's the alternate balance mode, Trick Dash for sure. Yeah, and I'd make like one final remake set with them. Like, they got the Plastic Gen remake set. It would make sense if they did an MFB remake set and then going into like the whole 3-2-1 cool shoot. But it's not a confirmed thing, it's just a speculation thing. I think it would be cool for them to do that. Obviously, main releases were done after Barricade Lucifer. But yeah, it would be cool to see MFB getting props with one more set, because I'd love to see MFB bays hang at the same level as DB and BU bays as well, because the Plastic Gen remake doing that, like Trigger V2 being that strong, why isn't there potential for another bay to do that? You know what I mean? Like for Plastic Gen remakes. But yeah, man. So getting into it, we've got some discussion on the big time thing, that being with one Barricade Lucifer, they put in a special little paper, that being this one right here. I'll put it on the front cam so y'all could see it clearly and it's not flipped. So with this paper, as you see right there, 3-2-1 cool shoot. They put it in with Barricade Lucifer, and this is basically a confirmation that 3-2-1 cool shoot. On March 21st, they're going to be announcing something big pertaining to Beyblade, and they show off all the logos right there. So they show off the Plastic Gen logo, they show off the Metal Fight logo in the middle, and they show off the Burst logo being the third one all the way to the right. So with this, we're going to speculate and discuss a little bit. It's not going to be too long of a video. Going to be pretty short, pretty, straight to the point and everything with it. So, yes, wanted to throw in the honorable mention. So, I see there being possibly, like, 3 different options for this. So, my guesses for it. So, we're going to get into the first option for me, that being like the thing I see being the most likely with this, that being the announcement of a new generation. So 3-2-1, being possibly a new generation, like the announcement of a new generation on that date. And it would make sense because, like, fun little fact, you guys might not know this, but kind of recently your boy did a little podcast. I was a part of a podcast being with your boy Ilinok as well as your boy Bolto MS. So yeah, and we discussed the same sort of thing. And yeah, so be on the lookout for that. I think he's gonna probably be editing it and hopefully be out sometime soon. Not sure exactly where he's gonna put it, whether it's gonna be on like YouTube or it's gonna be like on streaming sites or such. But yeah, it is something that happened, and possibly planning for some kind of podcast, like monthly podcast between us, because that would be really, really awesome. But yeah, dude. So the first option being the announcement of a new generation being the most likely thing. So it's just baffling to me because I'm like, it blows my mind because I'm like, what could they do that's more innovative than Burst? Like, we've seen the evolution of Beyblade throughout history. So we had the plastic gen at first, the Beyblade being made big time out of plastic, have a little bit of metal with like the weights and such with the with the bays, like the metal weight for the disc. Um, and then they got more innovative by adding like engine gears and such, making some of the bays electronic. We saw it in the plastic gen. And then they went with the hard metal system or heavy metal system. The bays were a lot smaller, but heavier, more compact, and they still hit big time because, being made out of metal and such. But then, of course, that transitioning into Metal Fight Beyblade, where we saw the bays having major metal with them, and even seeing like the evolution, like going from like Spin Dragoon at the very beginning of the plastic gen all the way to like the HMS bays at the very, very end of the plastic gen. And there was like 3 seasons for that for the show. But yeah, and then getting into the Metal Fight Beyblade, starting off with the PHW bays, the pre-hybrid real bays, like Virgo, Aquario. There were like 4 pieces and such, combined energy ring, fusion wheel. Then the track and the tip, everything with that, and the face bolts, and then going to the hybrid system with Metal Fight Beyblade, like the first season, and then like the gimmicks and everything expanding that much further. The bays getting heavier, mode changes and everything by getting the 4D time, and then 0G Shogun Steel, the bays with the Synchrome and having all the weight with them. We see like the bays generally with each generation, they get heavier and such as it goes along, and more gimmicks with them. And then with Burst, of course, starting off with the single layer bays, then going to the dual layer bays, God bays, Cho-Z, GT, Super King, Dynamite Battle, BU, that growth and such. But the burst factor being a part of the 3rd gen. So, plastic gen, then you had Metal Fight with all the metal, and then burst having like the big time burst gimmick with it, which was super innovative. Then putting in the burst system, and it's like, how can they even go and make it more innovative than that? It's wild, dude. So one thing that would be crazy, like 2 kind of options for like this option, announcement of a new generation. One, if they did like an end game type thing where they incorporated styles from all the previous gens, so they included like somehow include like the burst gimmick, more metal contact points like how Metal Fight Beyblade was, and then maybe like some more shapes like how plastic gen was, more jagged. That would be wild, dude. That would be really crazy because some of the plastic gen designs, like they could be dangerous, man, if they do that and they make it more metal and such, or find a way to make it more metal. That would be nuts for sure. That would be really, really nuts. But yeah, I think it would be cool if they somehow, some way, like managed to do like an end game type of thing, or like alternate parallel universe type thing where you could see like characters from Plastic Gen, Metal Fight, Burst all come together. Like imagine Vault, Jenga, and Tyson being all in the same series. Then you'd have like freaking Kai, Kyoya, Shu, like all those kind of badass characters and such. Like that would be insane. I think that would be really, really cool. Or it's just completely like a new generation that goes from like the previous ones, which they tend to do. They never have it where they cross over or anything like that. So it'd be wild if TT actually did that. For my skits, I like doing that, like where like gens tie together. Like my skits right now take place after the MFB skits, like the 0G skits, and the 0G skits took place after the MFB skits that I did. I try to have them tie together, but they don't do that too much like TT does. But yeah, anyways, yeah, dude, it would just be really, really wild to just see something like that if they did an endgame feel. Or if it's completely a new generation, new characters and everything, and like a total reboot, then so be it. But you see each gen getting inspiration from previous generations, even with the gimmicks for the bays or how they switch and everything, they're just evolved that much more. And it's really, really awesome seeing that. So that being the first option, like the announcement of a new generation totally. The second option I see, well, kind of tied into that, like an endgame type of feel. That being the second option, like maybe like there's an end game type of approach with it where they combine all the previous like things from previous gens into one more final like generation for Beyblade and such. Because Burst is really innovative, man. It really is. I'm wondering how they're gonna even be more innovative than like what they did with Burst. But yeah. So that being like the second thing, you know. But the third option which I think is the least likely, but it would be cool to see. I wouldn't mind it if they did like a BU plus type thing, like if they decide to extend BU a little bit longer, you know. But they don't call it BU, or maybe they just call it BU plus and consider it its own system, you know. That would be really, really wild. But that's obviously unlikely because considering they put "Thank You" on Barricade Lucifer, I think it would be cool because there's a few bays that I think would deserve to get their roses and such with like one more little extension. That being, especially like my top five would be Hades because Hearts is former world champion, Zeus, and like Hearts his gimmick, you know, for Hades in general. It would be really dope to see a BU level Hades. Zeus, especially, because we haven't seen a Zeus since Galaxy Zeus, and Zeus's gimmick with the metal balls and everything, maybe put atomic metal or something on it. That'll be really, really wild. Like, the driver like atomic metal would be dope. Balance the game out that much more, because I love DB and BU. They're my favorite, like, burst systems, because, you know, the bays being big time, like, heavier and strong, but still able to be bursted and be really, really fun, you know, having all that power with them. But, yeah. Yeah, I could just imagine. I could imagine that, you know, if they were to like extend it, like Zeus being one of the bays, like Hades, Zeus. Another bay I'd love to see is like Apocalypse. Another one being Genesis. I think they would both be worthy of those spots. Just lock them in one mode, like how Greatest Raphael is locked. Like the layer itself is locked in one mode. You know, lock it in the low mode or high mode or whatever. And put the Mugen gimmick with it. You know, when it will make it where they're like not OP. They're like locked in the high mode, just like how you know, um, Raphael was, or if they're in the low mode, even like not having the craziest stamina with them or such, like Apocalypse being a raw attack type, Genesis being a defense type, you know. But yeah, something like that. Or the last babe being Diabolos for sure, because considering they took the gimmick from Diabolos and slapped it on not only Spriggan but also Achilles, and Diabolos just kind of got shafted. Like, yeah, they did Delta dirty, man. Like, took his gimmick, like, for sure. The flipping gimmick, that like, Diabolus is the one that started that. And then, like, Spriggan just took it and ran with it, and same thing with Achilles. So, you know, like, still a cool gimmick and everything, but Diabolus definitely should have got its roses. If I had, like, a sixth and seventh choice, I'd say Wyvern and Death Scyther, for sure. They'd be solid choices as well, you know. Because Dyna and Wakia both being strong, especially seeing Wakia and Super King, and he literally only used Jet one time, which was wild, man. That's literally the only time he used Jet Wyvern. But yeah, so those being like the big time options, you know. So like I'd say the first one, like I said, the first one being a totally new generation. The second being like a end game type of thing, like a new gen, but it's not a new gen because like the end game feel with it. And then the third option possibly being like you know, where it's like one more extension of like BU, or they call it BU plus or something, you know, which is the one that I see the being the least likely. So most likely to least likely. So yeah, regardless, we're gonna get some big time news on 321 Cool Shoot Day. Beyblade Day, you know, March 21st, and it's going to be really awesome to see. And usually the way it goes is like when they announce like a series, it's usually a few months later on where they start dropping products for it, because we saw with Burst, they announced that like March, I believe. It was around like March period, I think. Like March or April, one of the two, where they actually announced it, like Project B, and then it ended up being Burst, and then Beyblade Burst was officially announced, and then we got the first releases, that being Valkyrie, Spriggan, and such. We got them all over the summer, like July of like 2015, you know, that time period, summer 2015. And yeah, my first two bays were like that's like they're over like selling Wyvern Armed Massive, and I got them like in the fall period, you know, so not too far behind it, but yeah, man, it was just really, really awesome. Just thinking about it, how I was there and everything when Burst started, like when the single layers started up and everything, and then seeing like the show start up and everything was really, really wild. But yeah, so you know, just seeing how far Burst has come, it's really, really wild. And you would think like if they announced this now, then that would mean maybe sometime by the fall we'd start getting the products or something, you know. For this series, if they, you know, were to do that or something like that, or maybe it's the summer, who knows? Let's have to see what TT has planned. It's gonna be awesome to see, and I mean, Hasbro's held over with Quad Strike for this year, so yeah, you know, um, yeah. Well, 2023 they're gonna be held over with Quad Strike, so you know, that's basically everything for the speculation video. I mean, like I said, basically straightforward, short, sweet, to the point, all that good stuff. What things are you guys hoping for, or hyped about, or you know, you could speculate yourselves in the comments below. So, yeah. Anyways, guys, that's gonna do it. for this epic speculation video. Hope you all enjoyed. If you did, be sure to slice that like button down below. Let me know how I did. If you're new to my channel, definitely be sure to subscribe for some epic content because I upload daily. And if you haven't already, be sure to ring that bell by my channel name to be notified whenever I upload a video. So yeah, guys, till next time, it's your boy Kimbo signing off. See you guys later. Thanks so much for watching. Till then, stay awesome and shoot, or let it rip. I'm up out of here.